Year four.
That's a good
We
one.
are
That's a long
back.
one. Yeah,
Browns.
another week one ready to go.
Oh, yes. And we have a wonderful opener.
At home.
4:25 national game at home. Tom Brady making his debut in the booth against America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Ah, not America's team. Marketing scheme. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Big lie. It's what they are. Bunch of bums. They do have a good roster outside the running back core, which is a bunch filled with a bunch of old men. But there's a lot of big questions about this Browns team. I know we haven't, talked about this in a while. We kind of took a little hiatus, but we're back. We're excited for the season, and ready to talk some Browns over the course of the next, I don't know, 17 plus weeks, hopefully, right? Um, yeah, going into it, I think this roster front to back, by the way, is very good, very deep. And I think a lot of people have been writing a little bit of us off if they didn't understand what happened in the preseason. Preseason, none of those people are on the team anymore, pretty much. So, but we are going in pretty blind with not having Deshaun Watson play a single snap and a lot of new faces. So, Bill, how you feeling about this year, first of all, and how are you feeling about this team?
Well, I feel like I'm kind of right there with everyone else.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you have the idea of if this defense can come back and be what it was last year, you definitely have high hopes of being a Super Bowl contender. Um, but of course, the real question mark is Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
What is he going to be able to play 17 games this year, or at least the majority of games? Um, how and if he does play, how well does he play? Is it going to be well enough to get us to the AFC Championship or even get us out of the division? Um,
Mm,
and it's a tough field because he's coming off of shoulder surgery, and we just haven't seen enough of Deshaun Watson. Little
yeah.
glimpse last year of his old self, but not enough. Right when we saw a nice bit of Deshaun Watson, where we go, oh yeah, we got something of him that he's at least good enough that we can say he's worth the money. And
Hmm.
then the sad news, he was shut down for the year. Are we going to be able to see that in a new revamped Kevin Stefanski slash Ken Dorsey
Dorsey.
Browns offense? We're going to see a lot more spread, empty backfield, read options,
Yeah, I was gonna say
um,
pet. Yeah.
on time throws. There's going to be a lot of scrambling. The offense is more set up for Deshaun's standard rather
Hmm.
than the old standard,
A lot of
kind of
lot of play action.
like a
Kevin
West Coast
Stefanski.
offense
Yeah.
that we've been used to seeing over the last couple of years.
Hmm.
Um, so, there's a lot of things to look for because they didn't show a lot of it in preseason. I think I don't
I
think
think
they
they
showed
showed any of it.
anything
I don't
in
think they
preseason.
showed any of this.
They ran a lot of stuff under center, and to be honest, I don't think we're going to see any of that in
Mm.
the first game.
I
Um,
think, I personally think that they gave Tyler Huntley a fake playbook the entire offseason and then let him go back to, let him go right back to the Ravens. Be like, this is
reverse
what they're doing.
psychology, the reverse psychology.
Dude,
Um,
yeah, so many layers deep of thought that this team is going through. um, but yeah, no,
it's
I
like
agree. I think
they
it's,
foreseen the future.
yeah, I know. Kevin's that smart. Uh, but yeah, no, I agree. I think it's gonna be a completely different type of offense from what we've seen. Obviously, with um, the same kind of look and feel, but also with different wrinkles in there that I think they're going to bring a lot of elements that honestly just fit Deshaun more than it has the last handful of years. Because, I mean, we talk about it, go back, a couple of years when we got Deshaun, is that we were typically saying the fit of Kevin's offense and what Deshaun likes to do isn't the best match. So I think pulling a guy in like Ken Dorsey, I know a lot of people would say, well, he was fired last year from the Bills. I don't personally think that that was his fault, of how that went down, but he's worked with a lot of great quarterbacks that have very similar attributes to Deshaun. I mean, obviously, Josh Allen was a big one. Cam Newton also, obviously a massive person that I think influenced probably Deshaun the most growing up as well, and I think really kind of tailored his kind of style towards Cam, and I mean Dorsey worked with Cam, so I think it's something that I think we're going to see a lot that really just fits Deshaun the best. So if it doesn't work this year, I'm just very, very concerned. Because at that point, I would say he just doesn't have it anymore. And I hate saying that, but I'm very, very, very much give him the benefit of the doubt of this whole season to see it. Because yeah, we saw a ton of flashes last year, but he just needs to piece it together. And I think this is the year to do it, man. Bringing in Jerry Judy, we have I think the best receiving room I think we've had in a very, very long time, if ever, right? And the big question mark for me going into um, this game not only is obviously in year two of a defense, right? You have a whole year of film to watch that and kind of like prepare for, um, with Jim Schwartz. But the big thing is this offensive line, man. We've kind of me and you have discussed it off podcast, but man, like right now, Jedrick Wills is not playing on Sunday.
Allegedly.
Yeah, and the big rumor right now is, I mean, it's gonna be Jack Conklin as the left tackle. How do you feel about that as a former lineman? And obviously he's went 10 years of not playing left tackle and playing right tackle since college. How do you feel that? Like, how do you feel about that whole situation if Jack does switch to left and have Dewan on the right? How do you feel about that, and how confident in Jack are you if he did do that for however long until Jed's back?
Well, I would like to start off like this. Um, Jack Conklin has been in the NFL for a long time, and you could say he's a pro. Um, the injury bug, unfortunately, has gotten him throughout the years,
Ooh,
but you
yeah,
know,
you could say that.
yeah, I think it's easy to say that one. But for someone that's been in the league so long, you need to know every single position. And when you're taught as an offensive lineman, most times, more times than not, you need to know every single position.
Hmm.
I think the tricky thing is when you play on one side of the ball to the left side, it's a it's a big change. You're changing up your footwork, your hand placement, your vision's different. Everything's a different feel.
Yeah, the
Um,
twitch in your muscles, your hips. Yeah, I mean it's big.
everything's different, and you have to learn basically backwards. And it's a tough thing to do. That's why there's not a lot of guys that can make that change. That could be a reason why we've seen Jed Wills struggle. Um,
Because he went
but
from right to left.
yes, him being a right tackle out of college. Same with Dewan Jones. I think the easiest band-aid would have been just throwing Dewan Jones to left tackle because he has made a name for himself on his offensive line. But there's a reason why he hasn't, because he's never played left tackle. He's played probably about 15 snaps his sophomore season at Ohio State. But Jack Conklin at least played a season at left tackle at Michigan State almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, so this is going to be a little tricky. Um, you know, the Browns have kept it on the very down low of who's going to start on Sunday.
Dude, Kevin's gave
Yeah.
us nothing. Dude, I've been watching those pressers. Dude, he's given us nothing. Like,
Well, the funny thing is, Kevin gave us nothing, but today the players kind of snitched.
Mm,
Stefanski came out and said today that we'll see on Sunday. There's a chance of Jed playing, but on the contrary, Jed was speaking from the locker room and said he is not going to start on Sunday. And on
interesting
the other,
phrase.
when they were speaking with Deshaun Watson today, he said James and Jack. So possibly James Hudson makes the start at left tackle.
I caught that. I was in the car driving, and I was listening to it on my way home from work, and it was like he said that because they were talking about Jed Wills, right? And then he said James and Jack, and I thought he miss said something, and then I'm like, wait, is he talking about James Hudson? He has to be. Um, so yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of questions. Um,
I
We'll
mean,
see.
most of
I
the
just, at least we have depth, though. I will say this. I mean, and we've been able to, I mean, obviously not having Callahan this year is a big problem. But I think this is a true test to kind of see, obviously our depth thesis and how can we cover that and how can we kind of patch that hole at, left tackle at the moment. But I will say I did see DeJuan Jones at a Guardians game a few months back, and that is the biggest human I've ever seen in my life. He is freaking massive. I felt like I'm not the smallest guy in the world, but that man made me look like a child. Like, dude, he was freaking huge.
Well, I guess this is the perfect segue to just hop right into Sunday because I believe the tackle position is something to watch. Um, Not throwing out a cocktail, but like this is going to be interesting. Whether whoever's out there, whether it's Jack, James Hudson, hell, if it's even Jed that's going to come out for a half. Um, it's going to be interesting. As of right now, on the depth chart, it has Jed Wills at left tackle and Jack Conklin at right tackle. So that leaves DeJuan Jones on the bench. So we might see James Hudson come out and play left tackle with Conklin at right tackle. Um, either way, you are going to see two top tier pass rushers in
Yeah,
Demarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. They're definitely going to have the work cut out for them. This is like a Micah Parsons and Demarcus Lawrence. You're looking at guys that compare to TJ Watt, Miles Garrett out there. So this is going to be a long day if you can't block them. And more times than not, you're not going to be able to block Micah Parsons. So this is where I believe the game starts for the Browns is can you protect that pocket? Can you set that line of scrimmage against this tough front seven of the Dallas Cowboys? Um, this the Dallas Cowboys I believe are built on the defensive side of the ball where
yeah.
they lost Dan Quinn, who's been a phenomenal defensive coordinator, but they bring in Mike Zimmer, uh, former Vikings coach. He was the one that brought in Stefanski as his offensive coordinator. So a guy that's seen a lot in the NFL and has been known as a very good defensive-minded coach. So the Dallas Cowboys have a lot of issues where they let a lot of players go throughout the offseason, and they brought nobody in.
Yeah.
Uh, but
They brought Zeke back.
yeah, this defense though has been pretty steady.
But Bland is out. They're
Yeah,
starting
Bland
DB.
is out for about 6 to 8 weeks, but you still have Travion Diggs out there.
Yep.
Um, you have the two bookend defensive ends. You bring in Eric Kendricks from Minnesota, who's one of the top tier linebackers in the game. So I think you're going to see a lot of tough defensive looks, a lot
Definitely.
of pressure from this Dallas Cowboys defense. And it just starts with the Browns offensive line being able to set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, dude, I agree. I think it's definitely a defensive focused team, but also, in my opinion, with a very good quarterback. I think Dak Prescott is the most overrated and most underrated quarterback in the entire NFL because
He's an
depending on
enigma.
yeah, because depending on who you talk to, they either love him or hate him or have no opinion about him. And I'm like, he puts up good stats. I mean, he always looks pretty good. The problem around Dak, in my opinion, is the supporting cast this year. Um, obviously, I mean, still got a good tight end in Ferguson. Obviously, CD's back. CD's going to be balling out as usual, but after that, man, like it kind of gets a little dicey. Brandon Cooks has still not practiced, to my knowledge, uh, this entire offseason. Um, and then your starting running back is Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook. Some might say those guys are pretty washed. Um, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they'll kind of like jump back and have a good season. But I'm really hoping if they do that, it's after this game. So so it's a um, very interesting game in my opinion because I think both teams kind of have very similar aspirations and just on different conferences. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting one because in general the Browns too. Like I mean, I still have a ton of question marks with this team. Running back is one of them. Um, receiver, I'm actually just more excited to see them play in general. Questions on Jerry Judy, but I think they're really going to exploit not having Bland back there and just really just throw people out there and just see what sticks. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. You want to throw some cowtails out there?
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Go for it,
Yeah,
Bubba.
I my first cowtail is going to be thrown out to a man that we thought he was washed for a long time. And he really showed his true colors towards I think he really stepped up towards the middle of the season. And that'd be the Chief, David Njoku.
Here
Um,
we go.
he's became a big weapon for this Browns offense at that end of that season. I mean, this dude was like Kelsey level talent at the end of the
Yeah,
year, and he was phenomenal. Running good routes, getting open,
I
running
mean,
guys over, just
yards
like
after catch, his yak was insane.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whatever he did, he needs to redo that, like bring that back this year. That same intensity. Now we know he has that talent, and it should stay that way. I mean, he is phenomenal. And when you look at this Dallas Cowboys defense, um, they are pretty banged up in that secondary. Um, you know, you're going to have those matchups where you're going to be able to put in Njoku on basically anybody and have a favorable matchup, especially with the supporting cast of receivers out there. So it's kind of, I'm not saying we have the best in our receiving core ever, but when you look at Amari Cooper, he's a top and top 15
Our
receiver.
best, our personal best as the Browns in general, or
Yeah,
like league wise.
I'm saying top 15 receiver in the league, Amari Cooper.
Oh, okay, I got you. I thought you were talking about as a group.
No, no, no. I think they're decent enough, each individual player, to give fits as
Yeah.
like a group.
I
So
think the ceiling for the group is ridiculous, though.
yeah, it's one, can they stay healthy? And two, how consistent can they be?
Yes.
Because we don't need Amari to carry this offense. We need Amari
He
to be
can.
he
I don't
needs to
want
be
him to, but
a staple in the offense, but not carry it.
hmm.
Um, but like I said, I'm going to Joku as my first cocktail of the season.
Okay.
Who do you got? The
Well,
obvious one. You got the obvious one.
you can go obvious one in for the third
Oh,
one if you want. I'm gonna go someone. I'm gonna go someone here that I typically say a lot just because I'm just a huge fan of him. And he also got a really nice contract recently. It's JOK, man. I think
Oh,
JOK is gonna be he's gonna be a guy that is gonna have to have a big decision to, cover their tight end, which Dak really, really likes, and also when to go after Dak. And I think he needs to find that balance, and I think it's a really make or break position in this game, and with quarterbacks in general that really like using tight ends. So JOK personally, I think is going to have a massive impact on this game for a good way or a bad way, just depending on how he plays.
oh.
Third one, you can go for it. I think we're in the same boat here. I'm not going to say it, obviously. I'm going to wait for you to do it, but
I
who's
think
the
it's the
third
obvious
cowtail?
one. Huh?
Who's the third cowtail?
All right, ready? On a count of three, we say it at the same time.
Okay.
I think you're gonna say somebody else, to be honest.
Are we doing 3, 2, 1, go or 3, 2, 1?
Like 3, 2, 1, say
Okay,
it.
okay.
Ready?
All right. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, Miles
Deshaun
Garrett.
Watson.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, hey man,
I'd
I
say
guess
Miles will
those
go
guys
either way.
dice that up, split it in half, y'all can have it.
Okay, well, I'll let you go for Deshaun.
All right.
Go ahead.
I
Play.
mean this one's pretty simple, man. You got to play good. I mean, we just have. I mean, we've been talking for, I mean, 2 years, but only 12 games. Dude, you just got to play good. Please just play good. Live up to the hype. And give us hope, man. Just play good. Just play consistent football. I don't want to see a ton of turnovers, bad passes. Just just play a smart football and make some. I don't need to have 5, 6 amazing plays a game. I just want to see maybe one amazing play that I'm like, wow, this guy's worth the money, and just win us this game. Help us win this game. Help us beat the Cowboys at home and move on to the next week. So, Sean Watson, it's simple as that, man.
All right. Well, Miles Garrett, for this reason, he's the leader of the defense, defensive player of the year. Um, you're coming against a team that I just believe this is just going to be a defensive game. Um, you look at both sides of the ball here. The Browns have a banged up offensive line. The Dallas Cowboys are hurting at every single spot
And
on
zero depth. That
offense.
team, I looked up and down that roster. That depth is next to none. It's
Yes,
insane.
they lost plenty of guys. They let go of their star, like Joe Thomas level legend, um, over there on the left side.
Which
Uh,
is rookie is starting for him.
yeah, I believe there's three rookies starting this week for the Cowboys. Um, you know, usually
Exploit
like,
it. Exploit it.
and it's like the crazy thing is the Browns and the Cowboys have been well known of having great offensive lines over the last couple of years. Um, but a lot of injuries, people retire. Cowboys. Jerry Jones obviously doesn't want to resign his players. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for Miles Garrett and that defensive line to just absolutely take over this game.
Bless you.
Yes. Thank you. Um, so, you know, it's going to be such a key part of this game to be able to not only put pressure on Dak, but eliminate any opportunity for the Cowboys to build a run game.
Sure.
Uh, as we spoke about in the beginning, the Cowboys have like zero to no running backs. So there's no reason why they should go for 100 yards.
I mean,
That,
you go back a few years ago, they were good running backs.
exactly.
Definitely taking a few steps back. So it'd be pretty embarrassing if they have a good week.
Exactly. So you want to make these guys one dimensional. And
Very.
that
I think when you make this team have to throw, I think it's game over.
Dak is I believe Dak is a great quarterback,
I am in the
but
same camp. I like Dak a lot.
there's a lot of flaws to him where he gets exposed. Um, I mean, I feel like you could say that about a lot of quarterbacks,
Most of
but
them.
Dak specifically is he can throw a lot of interceptions. And with this Browns secondary, you know, they're going to be licking their chops on Sunday. Um, so it starts in that front seven for the Browns. And to flip it on the other side of the ball, I think it starts on that front five. Um, game of trenches. That's all. That's it's. Everyone that watches football knows that it starts in the trenches. Um, so it's going to be very crucial to this game this week. Two high-powered teams that have high hopes for playoffs and to chase the Lombardi. And it all
Mhm.
starts week one. And it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, agreed. And when you say, it starts in the trenches, I always look at that when you look at those videos where they break down the line in the line of scrimmage when before the ball snapped and then when the ball snapped. If are you getting pushed back or are you pushing forward? That is something that no one really talks about all that much, but I think it's such a massive game changer in a day and in a play to play type scenario that if you keep continuing to win those, that is I think that's a massive push. If they can
And,
just do that, if they can just push forward, obviously the line's beat up and rough, but like if they can just consistently just either hold that line or push forward, I think it's gonna be massive.
yeah,
Um,
let me just build off that for 1 second.
yes,
That
sir.
pushback on that line of scrimmage, it's a game in the trenches, but it's also a game of inches. And when you get even push back a step, a step, that can change the whole angle of the play. And it's a very crazy thing. You you don't see it in the game,
No, you don't.
but when you're out there playing, you see it very vividly. Like it's like a turn of the shoulder, uh, the placement of a hand. You know, simple things like that can change the whole entire play, and it's what makes the game so beautiful because there's a hundred yards on a football field, but 1 inch can change the whole entire game.
I like how you put that right there. I really appreciate that personally. Let's get into let's get into some keys of the game, some Royal Donuts. Um,
Oh yeah, to my favorite donuts in the whole world,
Best donuts. They're the
the
best donuts,
Royal
hands
Donuts.
down.
Stay loyal
Um,
to the Royal.
Got to do it. I don't eat donuts that they aren't from there. So, um,
Exactly. I don't think I really
I
have a
don't.
hard time eating donuts from anywhere else.
No, I'll say Jack Frost is pretty good.
But
Doesn't
that's
compare though.
like they're
Doesn't
like
compare.
cupcakes. They're like
Yeah.
cupcakes. They're not
I
donuts.
agree. I agree. It does kind of taste more like a cupcake, like, especially the frosting. So keys to the game. You want to go?
Well, yeah, I think I can go right down the line with these things. I,
Do
I
all
think
three. Just knock them out, all three. I mean, I think it's relatively self-explanatory, right? We've
I
talked about
yeah,
it at length at this point.
I think I referenced all of them
You
pretty
definitely
much
did.
the whole
That's
thing. But like you protect the pocket, you make the push on the offensive side of the ball. You
hmm
push that line of scrimmage, protect Deshaun, let him be comfortable in the pocket. On the other side, you want to disrupt the pocket. Don't allow a run game. Make them one dimensional. Make Dak throw the ball like 50 times. Like CeeDee Lamb, I think hands down, he is either one of the top three receivers in this league. And between him, Tyreek, Justin Jefferson, you know,
Jamar.
I think Jamar's outside that top three, to be
Okay.
honest.
All right.
Um, I I think Justin Jefferson's better than him, and I honestly think Tyreek Hill is probably the best receiver in the league. That's just me. Um, but you know, this is a talented Cowboys offense that can pour in points, but they're also coming off a very loud offseason. They lost a lot of players.
A
The
lot of negativity around this
A
team
lot of
right now.
negativity. So you need to strike where the iron is hot.
Hmm.
Um, you want to make them stay sad, be sad boy. And I think the honestly the final like royal donut key to the game is to go roll off right your your final half a cocktail is get Deshaun going. Get him in the rhythm. Uh,
Yeah,
we got a marathon, 17 games.
I know,
You
and
need to get
I
going.
do feel like if he starts off hot, I think that's all he needs. I think if he just has one game at the beginning of the year that he just feels good in, I think he can just roll. Because I mean, as with any sport, in my opinion, it's very based on rhythm and how you feel. And I feel like Deshaun is one of those players that he really needs to feel it. You know what I mean? Like it's something that you can't really put into words, but you know what I'm talking about if you've played sports, right? And I think Deshaun, if he gets that feeling early and in this game, ever so slightly, I think it's a massive implication for the rest of the season.
Yes, I totally agree, and I think basically anyone that's watching that game on Sunday, that's the first thing they're looking at. That's what we're watching. How is Jerry Judy going to fit in this offense? Um, how is this new offense going to look? But in
Yeah.
reality, it is literally just how does Deshaun look? How does he feel? How does he run this offense? Is he rusty? Is
I don't want to hear about the rust anymore, dude. I'm over the
yeah,
rust. It's been so long. It's so long.
it's just that we're kind of at our final straw,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely are.
it is what it is, but I
Prove us
think,
wrong. Make us happy.
dude, I'm so pulling for Deshaun.
Oh
Like
my God. Fuck
I'm
yeah,
sure
dude.
I've said this a thousand times. A successful Deshaun Watson is a successful Cleveland Browns, and I live and die by that. Um, we the last time we felt this way about a quarterback, we ran him out of the goddamn city,
Yeah, he
and
ran himself out, but
no,
we're
some
not talking
people
about it.
ran
Not
him
talking
out of
about it.
the
Not
city.
talking about it.
They ran him out of the city, and now he got paid like 50 million a year, and he was worth it because he was a fucking drive away from taking him to the NFC Championship. I rest my case. Um, but
It's a baby.
yeah, but I think this brings us to the final segment, the Michael Lewis real estate prediction.
Yeah. Predictions for this game, man. Um, it's a tough one. It's a real tough one to kind of pinpoint, obviously, for all the things we just kind of laid out. Um, I think this game can easily get into a shootout, but I also feel like this could also be a very low scoring game. Um, but I'm personally going to go with this game at 24-20. Browns win. At
All right.
home, at home, feeling good, starting the season off right.
See, what I was gonna say is Dak, he's a loser.
Wow. What a loser.
They said never seen anyone like Deshaun. No one's ever done it like Deshaun before. He's the real number four.
Oh man.
I This is a very unpredictable game.
Yeah.
Um, I am having such a hard time predicting. I'm leaving them out of my parlay this week because it's a toss up. They're just it could go so many different ways with these two teams. The Cowboys, I feel like, are nothing but drama, and the Browns are just here for a good time. That's all I gotta say. But I guess I'll just a little bit of a wing it. I'm gonna go 21-17 Browns.
I like
Um,
it.
I think it's gonna be like a really rough 21-17.
Hmm.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be like a very rough game to watch, but somehow they're gonna put up like, you know, 38 points. So I would bet the under in this game.
All right. Well,
Fuck. Sorry.
bless you. And at that sneeze, we'll end it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next week. The Bill's going to look a little different next week, a little bit smaller,
And ball.
a little bit less beard. But thanks again so much for watching.
High in Colorado.
There we go.
I will
All
not
right,
be
go Browns.
go back.